Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Hot Mic catches Mark Cuban's sad message on Cowboys' Jerry Jones. This summer, according to valuations from Sportico, the Cowboys became the first pro sports franchise in the country to be worth more than $10 billion. So, as we're watching an embarrassing public meltdown from team owner Jerry Jones, let's remember to keep some perspective. He does not really need our sympathy. In fact, his outburst on the Sean and RJ show on the Fan 105.3 in Dallas on Tuesday probably gave many Cowboys backers the willies, as it is never very comfortable to have an octogenarian billionaire telling other people how they should do their jobs, and threatening to stop paying them if they don't take his advice. But if anyone can offer some condolence for a very rich elderly man, it's a very rich younger man. Like billionaire Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban. Cuban happened to be on ESPN's First Take on Tuesday morning not long after Jones' run-in with Sean Sharif and RJ Choppy on the Dallas airwaves, and during one of the outros as the show headed to commercial, it was mentioned that the panel would be talking about Jones. Cuban, not knowing his microphone was on, could be heard to say, "I feel bad for Jerry. I really do." Cuban did not have a lot of company in that regard on Tuesday. Jones and the Cowboys became the subject of scorn nationally because of his reaction to the host's questions. On Fox 4 in Dallas, anchor Mike Ducey said, "That was a billionaire bully pissed off because he wasn't hearing exactly what he wanted to hear." Former star tight end Shannon Sharpe said on ESPN, I detest, I despise someone that will prey on the weak. If the Cowboys don't win another playoff game or another game as long as Jerry Jones is the owner, I'll be the happiest man in the world," said longtime host Dan Patrick on The Dan Patrick Show. "Jerry loves to go on these shows and talk. I applaud the hosts if you're asking questions, that's what your job is." Instead, Jerry just threatened their jobs because they were doing their jobs. Like, "How dare you question me?" Jones, in case you missed it, was confrontational from the get-go during his weekly visit with the radio station. While fans and talking heads who have been observing the Cowboys for the last few months have noted, with consistency, that the team could be in trouble after it made no significant additions in the offseason, Jones somehow acted like such questions were new and outrageous. "This is not your job," Jones said, via the Dallas Morning News. "If you think I'm interested on a damn phone call with you over the radio, sitting here throwing all the good out with the dishwater, you have got to be smoking something over there this morning. That's not your job, or I'll get somebody else to ask these questions, men." To make sure his threat was heard, Jones added, "I'm not kidding." Sharif, for his part, weighed in to point out that in no way does Jones pay him, and really can't fire him. Why Dak Prescott, Mike McCarthy are looking at Cowboys practices as a reason for struggles. Just days after suffering the worst loss in the 35-year ownership tenure of Jerry Jones in a 47-9 humiliation at AT&T Stadium at the hands of the Detroit Lions, the Dallas Cowboys are going back to the drawing board during their scheduled bye this week in a game where the Cowboys were outmatched in every facet. The physicality and toughness of the team have been put under the microscope after a 6-game stretch that saw Dallas mostly get overwhelmed by physical styles of play. It's not something that can just flip overnight, and the leadership of the team agrees, as focus is being put on how the team can reposition its approach to practice during the week. In his post-game availability, he called out how the team only tries to turn it on one day of the week and how that translates to the field. "We've got to practice harder, simple as that," Prescott said. "You can't turn it on Sundays. I know I've said that before to the guys. We've just got to reiterate that every day at practice, in our preparation. We've got to practice harder, prepare harder and come out here and play harder. That's a choice." In response to those comments made by his quarterback, head coach Mike McCarthy coincided with Prescott in implying issues with how the team practices during the week, while also still giving credit for the work put in during the week. "I've done this a long time, this team practices hard," McCarthy said. there's a difference between practicing hard and practicing well. They practice hard. We're not practicing well enough. Backing up his point about the team practicing hard is GPS data that tracks player movement and exertion during any given practice or game with a microchip installed in their shoulder pad or around their torso. If you look at comparables from the way the team practices on a GPS scale, this team is better conditioned than 2022 and 2023, as far as workload capacity, McCarthy said. That's what the numbers tell you, but the efficiency and productivity in the areas of fundamentals and technique, we are not where we were at this time last year. That's very evident to me as far as how I evaluate the practice every day. Prescott also challenged his teammates and himself in the approach they are taking outside of the team facility during the week to prepare for practices and games. We want to win, Prescott said. We want to play physical. We want to be great. So, it takes everyone looking in the mirror and saying, how can I get better? It starts with our preparation. It starts with being on the field and then the time away from the facility. What are you doing? How are you spending your time? Are you studying the game? Are you putting yourself in every situation and position to be ready for and to be great in those moments? We've got a lot of guys, myself included, that have to answer those questions and be better. Period. The Cowboys will have their longest break of the season to determine how exactly they can fix an apparent issue around how the team prepares and practices during the week leading up to a game. Without a solution, the team could be continuing to look in the face of an underwhelming season that could fly off the track sooner rather than later. With a solution, things could get back on track ahead of a tough stretch of games in the next 5 weeks. We got to keep working, McCarthy said. That's the answer. And we're going to keep working. Shaq hilariously pitches Cowboys Jerry Jones to sign intriguing free agent RB. Not only did the Dallas Cowboys not make a splash in free agency ahead of the 2024 NFL season, but they were also arguably the least active team in the league. While the Cowboys could have addressed numerous areas of need, the approach to one specific position baffled fans. Dallas entered free agency with a significant need at the running back position, as 2023 starter Tony Pollard was set to hit the open market. Pollard signed with the Tennessee Titans, and owner Jerry Jones opted to bring back Ezekiel Elliott for a second stint, while names such as Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, and Saquon Barkley all signed with new teams. This set up a committee featuring Elliott, 2020 undrafted free agent Rico Dowdle, and 2023 sixth-round pick Deuce Vaughn. But as the Cowboys head into their bye week at 3-3, the team ranks last in the NFL in rushing yards per game at 77.2. With Dallas's glaring struggles running the ball, Cowboys fan and Basketball Hall of Famer Shaquille O'Neal has decided to take things into his own hands. During a recent episode of The Big Podcast with Shaq, the NBA legend sat down with free agent running back Leonard Fournet. After confirming Fournet was still unsigned, O'Neal turned his attention to the camera to send a message to Jones and the Cowboys. Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones. It's me, your boy, Shaq. Look at him, Fournet, looking good, six-pack. He's ready to go. O'Neal said. All right, Jerry Jones? Stop messing around. Fournet doubled down on O'Neal's message by agreeing and reminding Jones that he's only 29 years old. Facts, I'm still 29, Fournet added. Unfortunately for Fournet, Jones and the Cowboys appear to be locked in on using primarily Dowdle and Elliott. Dowdle currently leads the team with 246 rushing yards on 59 attempts, while Elliott has 115 yards on 38 attempts. Vaughn has only received 7 carries for 20 yards this season. Beyond that, the Cowboys have Dalvin Cook on the practice squad but have yet to elevate him to the active roster for a game. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Leonard Fournette? Leave your opinion in the comments.